Okay, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to call us to order at 9:06 p.m. Eastern Time. And everyone can see the OneNote on the screen. And let's go ahead and start with public comment.
Did you need me to call roll, Madam Chair?
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. We can call roll first, and then would you like to do housekeeping and then go to public comment?
Yes, that would be great.
Let's go right for it.
Okay, so Ms. McCardle is present. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Hagopian?
Here.
I am here. Mr. Blankenship?
Present.
Mr. Bowen?
Here.
Mr. Elliott? No, he was here a minute ago. Mr. Rufo?
Present.
Mr. Benner?
Here.
Mr. Duque?
Here.
Mr. Eklund?
Here.
Ms. Eiler? I see her. There you are. Okay, Mr. Ford?
Here.
And you said Ms. Gabbard's coming later?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Nana?
I'm here.
Mr. Watkins? Mr. Watkins?
Hello?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, here.
Mr. Clark?
Here.
Mr. Cowan?
Martin Cowan is here.
Mr. Dassing?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Nepomuceno?
Present.
Mr. Pankey? Mr. Chinyevich?
Here. Happy New Year, all.
Ms. Yanuskavich?
Here.
Thank you. And I saw Ms. Houston is here. Also, Chase Crum is present. Is there any other staff members here? Is Mr. Bukovic here? Okay. All right, Madam Chair, the only person missing is Ms. Gabbard.
Yes, Brian Elliott had his mute on. It was not at his computer. Sorry.
Okay.
Held loud.
So that the housekeeping thing I had wanted to say had to do with meeting registration. Thank you, everyone, for registering ahead of time. But one thing on that, if you've lost your registration link, re-registering does not send it to you. So even if you registered in the past, re-registering causes me the same problem. So please do check well ahead of the meeting that you have your registration link saved, because when you re-register, it sends me an email, which lets me know I need to manually resend you your registration link. When you get that registration link, that's not a computer doing it manually. That's me having to go in and do it because I'm figuring by your email that you must have lost it. So even so, it's not an automatic thing. Please make sure you have your registration link ahead of time. There were a couple guests that registered more than within 20 minutes of the meeting starting. If I have time, I approve those. But just so you know, if you don't register at least an hour before the meeting, you might need to watch on YouTube. So I'm just asking everyone to please be mindful of that. And lastly, Madam Chair, unless there's any objection from the LNC, I was going to be having Mr. Crum take all the roll call votes this meeting in order to give him some secretary training.
That's fine with me. Okay, so I think next up we have public comments. So here's how we do that. Go to the bottom of your screen and you need to find reactions. Click that little button. There's a raise hand function. Raise your hand, and we're going to give 2 minutes for each person in the order of hands raised. And I'll wait just a second to see if anybody else raises their hand.
Ms. Graham has her hand raised if you didn't see, Madam Chair.
Yep. Ms. Allison Graham, go right ahead.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, everyone. I'm Allison from the Libertarian Party of the Great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Happy holidays to everybody here, and thank you for all your hard work on the LNC. I just wanted to make a quick comment to let everybody know that the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania annual convention for 2023, as I'm a part of the convention committee, is March 3rd through 5th in Reading, which is within an hour or two of Philadelphia or Harrisburg in the eastern part of the state. Even if you're not a member of the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania, we have a great lineup of speakers who will be attending and many social events throughout that weekend. So we hope to see many people in the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania and elsewhere attending to have a great fun weekend with Pennsylvania. And I thank you for the time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Graham. Up next, we have Nathan Madden.
So similarly, Arizona is going to be having its convention on January 28th. If anybody wants to stop by, it is going to be in Phoenix. We would love to have you, love to see you. But aside from that, I just wanted to say to anybody who sees this, please donate to the CRM fund. The CRM is one of the strongest tools that we could possibly have. And continuing in the future, it will be the strongest tool that we have together. I just want to say that. Everything else, hope you all have a good meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Madden. Okay, let's go. There's no one else. We're going to move on to our next agenda item. Because we're closing this meeting with an executive session portion, we may not have opportunity for public comment at the end. Not 100%. Normally we do a 1-minute wrap up at the end, but last call for public comment. If you want it, please speak now, or for 1 month, hold your peace. Going once, going twice. Okay, next up we have on the agenda the awards committee vacancy, and it's been noticed by the committee. So I will turn that over to whoever is going to present that on our meeting today.
Madam Chair, I don't know if any of the applicants are here or if anyone would like to speak on behalf of the applicants, but what I suggest, if it's amenable to you and the committee, is that we allow that opportunity, and then I send an OPA vote ballot after this meeting for those candidates and any further nominees via approval voting, with the highest approval person winning, no majority required.
Okay, so I'm fine with that. Looks like Mr. Duque has his hand raised. Go ahead.
Thanks. My question was, did we approve an agenda, and did it have the LP News item on it? And well, first off, did we approve the agenda? Because I might have missed that.
Oh, it's because it's a special meeting. It's always set in advance.
But Madam Chair, I made an error on it, and thank you, Mr. Duque, for reminding me. Yeah, I was going to suggest, because it was properly noticed and it was my error to not put it on the agenda, to do it after the 2 budget motions that are already on there.
That's fine with me. I'm sorry, I missed it when I approved, when we went back and forth with the agenda. Yeah, let's make that. It would technically be item 5, and then the rest will go 6, 7, 8.
Well, actually, I'm actually re-raising my hand, if it's cool.
That's totally fine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I wanted to move, if it would be in order, I'd like to move to amend the agenda, or if it's, I don't know if it's to suspend the rules to amend the agenda, to move the last item regarding the executive director contract up to the top of the agenda. Reason being that I feel it's the most important decision we'll make in this meeting, and I would like for us to not wait until several hours into the meeting to be able to get to that, because I feel like it also has an effect on the decisions we're able to make in other aspects of the board. So I'd like to amend the agenda to go directly to the executive director contract.
Okay. I put it specifically at the end because we've got to go into executive session and toss everyone out. But do we have any seconds? That's not the hill I'm going to die on.
Second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Okay. Any objection to doing things in that order?
Unfortunately, I do object, Madam Chair.
Okay. Do you want to speak to your objection?
Yeah, I think we will get to it. And if we see time running out, we can always postpone the other items. But when non-LNC members come to the meeting, I'd like to be as courteous to them as possible. I'm not trying to insinuate that Mr. Duque does not feel the same way. It's just different points of view, but I would like to not put everyone in a holding pattern right at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak to this before we go to a vote?
I don't know if I have an opportunity to say something again really quick. If not, well, I was going to say that I also, I appreciate the concern for the members to not have to like jump on, then be kicked off. Although to me, I think like until we actually adjourn the meeting, the members will have to endure some amount of executive session, whether it's the beginning or at the end. And then eventually you have to rise out of executive session, go back to being public with the members and then adjourn. And there could actually be some votes in between executive session and adjournment. So I feel like it's going to happen whether at the end or the beginning. And I feel that making the vote on this particular item before the rest will give us a better sense of more or less what our organization is looking like in terms of staff leadership. So that's why I'd like to go to it first. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to hear from Mr. Pat Ford.
Yeah, just briefly, I'll be very brief in my 15 minutes. I'll actually try to keep it under that. So if we can buzz through some of these open items, I'd be on board with Ms. Harlow's interpretation.
Okay, any other comments? And if we get short on time, I'll table one of my agenda items. Okay, if there's nothing, let's go to a vote. I think because there's objection, we should go ahead and do a roll call vote because that's the easiest way to do it on an online call. Madam Secretary, at your convenience.
This will be Mr. Crum. Mr. Crum, just duplicate ballot number 1 and make it ballot number A for this. This is unexpected.
I am having a problem duplicating. Duplicating is not an option for me.
Right click. I'll do it for you for this one, but you right click, duplicate.
No, I'm familiar with how to do it. It's grayed out. It's not an option to me.
Oh, that's strange. Okay, I'll do this one. So 1 second. This is to amend the agenda. And you and I will troubleshoot that outside of a meeting.
Sure.
Mr. Benner?
Pass.
Mr. Blankenship?
Yes. Yay.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Mr. Duque,
Yes.
Mr. Eklund,
Pass.
Ms. Eiler,
Yes.
Mr. Elliott,
Pass.
Mr. Ford,
I'll abstain.
Ms. Gabbard is not here yet. Mr. Hagopian,
No.
I will vote no. Mr. Nana,
Abstain.
Mr. Nikela, I'm sorry,
Abstain.
Mr. Rufo,
No.
Mr. Smith,
No.
Mr. Watkins,
Pass.
Mr. Benner,
No.
Mr. Eklund,
Oh man. Yes.
Mr. Elliott,
No.
Madam Chair, it's 5.
If I could object.
Okay,
Wait,
I was
Mr.
just about.
Yeah.
I was just about. It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Pankey. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Chair, it is tied. Your vote can make a difference. Do you wish to vote?
Mr. Watkins passed.
Oh, I put X. Mr. Watkins.
I'll abstain.
Okay, Madam Chair, same position.
Good grief, you guys. I was not prepared for this. Okay, I guess I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and we'll jump right into it because there's an appetite for it. I did not realize this was going to be a thing, but apparently it is, and we'll try to take care of it as quickly as possible.
Okay, considering we're going to that item, Madam Chair, is a motion for executive session in order?
Yes, a motion for executive session is in order now.
I have a question. Is it permissible for Mr. Crum to attend? He has signed an NDA.
I don't have any objection. Does anyone else have an objection? No objection? Okay. All right, that's fine then. So Mr. Crum can attend. So it's been moved to go into executive session for
to discuss the executive director contract.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any objection? Going once, going twice? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna let our secretary put us into breakout rooms and then we'll be ready to go.
And I'm assuming, Madam Chair, is Ms. Houston going to? No?
Nope, this will just be LNC.
Okay, I will pull everyone into the room and I'll pull Mr. Crum in separately. Okay, so I got to remember how to do this. Breakout rooms right here. Okay. Executive session. Yes, this is like magic. Okay, let me. Pat, did you not sign up with your email address that is the one you gave me? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I did. That's how I got in here.
Oh, we're in the executive. No, we're not. You're not in the executive. You must not have used the one. Let me find you on this list because you're not in the executive session room.
Should be because I got the login from my P4 to coalitionradio.us. I was actually proud of myself. They signed up within minutes.
Okay, but you're not, for some reason, you're not in the executive session. Okay. You're assigned to it. Is it asking you to go into that room and you just...
I don't see it. I use Zoom all day long. I still see the document that's being shared. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go.
Okay. All right, everyone, remember that you are still live on YouTube, so don't say anything you don't want broadcast. And we shall see you in a bit.
So, how's everyone doing?
Hope y'all are doing well. Does anyone have any good jokes? I get to sit out here in the peanut gallery. Usually I'm in there.
You want a joke?
I'm always down for jokes. Let's hear them.
Not mine, but amusing. And the motorist pulls into a service station. My car is making these very strange sounds. And so the mechanic walks carefully around the motorist and vehicle and looks and looks. You know, your problem is that's not an automobile. That's an elephant you're driving. Motorist pauses. Oh, that's why I could get so little luggage into the trunk.
That was pretty good.
You mean it wasn't bad enough?
I'll take it. It's a good clean joke, safe for YouTube, you know?
We'll try again. The Republicans attempted to elect a Speaker of the House. Kevin McCarthy. I haven't gotten to the joke yet. Kevin McCarthy lost 14 times in a row. It will be revealed tomorrow that this is his secret plan to convince America that he has reasonable qualifications for being the Libertarian Party presidential candidate, namely he knows how to lose and not quit.
Jokes appreciated. Well, we're winners up in here, George. What do you think?
We're winners, yes.
Yes, we are.
Actually, the elections this year, the Libertarian Party did quite well. There are lots of people who were in the 15% range for statewide office, at least in Alabama. We had one candidate for, well, New Hampshire is strange. Anyone who wants and is not a D or an R can run as a Libertarian. But we had a candidate for state rep who convened in a 3-way, actually it was an 11-way, they're weird. They had 5 candidates to win. In an 11-way race, we had a candidate who persuaded 10% of the voters to vote for her, which by comparison with most 3-way races is pretty good. Oh, it's a joke also. The Massachusetts Republican Party hasn't worked out yet that it's a third party, but they're down to 9% of the registered electorate. They failed to get on the ballot one of their candidates for statewide office because they couldn't find enough Republicans to sign his nominating papers. And they are having a serious fight between their current state chair and the outbound and now gone governor. As a result of which they're down to 3 members of the state Senate. That's the 40 members of the state Senate, and 23 members of the state House of Representatives out of 160, which is pretty bad.
Definitely glad to see gains being made all around the country. What do people normally talk about when executive session is going on?
Last few times I've been here, it's been people were talking about what books they read.
Nice. Okay.
There were highly rational discussions of Robert's Rules of Order. However, we had
shocker. Just kidding. Go ahead.
We had in the session several past times a series of people who claimed to be experts in Roberts and had opinions on the matter. God help us.
Well, I think we have a registered parliamentarian here.
Do we?
I think so. Is that the same Sylvia?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
But I'm smart enough to keep my mouth shut. Sometimes.
Good idea.
Well, the best kind of expert.
Well, while we're here, I'm something of a marketer, so I'm going to use this time to do a little focus grouping, if you guys don't mind. Why do all of you spend your time? You could be anywhere, you could do anything this Sunday evening, and you're here with us, sitting on the call, not only watching this, but in the Zoom meeting, not just watching on YouTube. What are you hoping to get out of attending in the gallery, so to speak?
Just curious. Miguel dropped the link to it right before it started in the Region 1 Discord. Didn't have anything. Well, I have plenty of better things to be doing, but nothing I'd rather be doing.
Great. Thanks, Trevor. What state are you in?
It is an R1.
Washington.
Washington. Sweet. That's what I thought. And sorry, Nathan, what were you saying?
Oh, he just mentioned the R1 Discord. I'm in there. I didn't realize he dropped it. I'd gotten the link from the LNC business list a while back.
I am owner. Oh, go on. I am owner/editor of Independent Political Report and Third Party Watch, which are the electronic newspapers that cover all third parties. Therefore, I am actively live blogging the LNC meeting. Of course, there's nothing going on, so I don't have to type anything to live blog.
Nothing going on. Nothing going on. Look at this Christmas tree we've got in the background here. I worked very hard to decorate it, so I don't know if that's going to make it into the blog, but plus your own jokes are pretty funny. I think we should include those in there too. That's just another joke for you, George. Ken, what do you get out of these meetings when you attend here versus YouTube?
Well, I'm actually pretty new to national party stuff, but I'm here today because I just got home from a trip to Florida and kind of killing time trying to readjust. And I was on the platform committee for 2022, and I kind of miss the Zoom calls and miss like the networking and all that. So figured
nice.
Hop on and see who I can meet.
Awesome. Well, before we work our way around to everyone else, I want to hear about your signs. Looks like you got a couple of good ones back there. Tell us about those materials.
Well, the one I'm most proud of course, is my own. I ran for McHenry County Board. I got about 3%, and it was a pick 2 out of 5 candidates. So I feel like I might have swung the election. We could talk more about that. The sign I'm most proud of, and that I know Karen Ann really likes, is the Bill Redpath sign. Bill is a former LNC chair, and he is practically a neighbor. I'm here in McHenry County, Illinois. Bill is just south of the county line in Kane County, where he lives with his fiancee Julie Fox, and it's like having Mickey Mantle in my neighborhood. he's one of the people who's in the Hall of Liberty. It's the Libertarian Hall of Fame. So
yeah, I know Bill has a ton of expertise for us in the ballot access department. Yeah. Which gives me an opportunity to plug, if you haven't yet donated, something that we could always use more funds on is our ballot access fund, which is open. We've got some ambitious goals this year. I'm sure Bill would appreciate us hawking for that. That's great. Does anyone else want to jump in on why they're on the call tonight? This is always fascinating to me. And we want to make it a good show, for everybody.
I assume some of you already noticed I took opportunity for public comment to promote the CRM as well. The CRM is like the lifeblood of the LP right now for the affiliates that are a part of it. It's literally the only thing that is getting counties organized, at least here in Arizona. So yeah, I always try to shill for that. And there weren't many others who are part of that group that come on here and do that were available today. So
great. Well, thanks for that. And you'll be hearing from all of us here at National very soon, but we are investing heavily in technology this year. So if there's anything anyone is looking for in terms of features or user needs that you have, be it CRM related or otherwise, we are very excited to be talking to people. We've recently hired, I believe, the party's first ever CTO, and he's been doing an amazing job getting us all organized in the CRM, but his scope covers a whole field of things. So if you and your affiliate are noticing an opportunity for us to do better at national or to be building things for affiliates, we want to hear about it. And this is the perfect time to do that. And your dollars really help us do that as well. So thank you, Nathan. Always excited when people do my job for me and promote our fundraising efforts in public comment.
For sure.
Third Party Watch is running a series of articles, 1 or 3 a week, on running for office and things that the LNC and other libertarian groups should be doing, which some readers may find of interest. So you might find that of interest. Independent Political Report tries to cover all of the third parties in the country, meaning we can hear what our competition or alleged competition is doing.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Third Party Watch. Go check it out. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Independent Political Report.
And are those two separate entities, or are they the same?
They're completely separate. So, Independent Political Report is about to be moved to the Outsider Media Foundation, which I am one of the organizers of, meaning Independent Political Report is going to try to do serious fundraising to do extensive coverage of all third parties, which of course means much coverage of libertarians.
Gotcha. I'm just replying back to some comments here. And again, I'm a marketer, can't help it. Let's keep the focus groups running. I had another question. Enough about national. What's the most exciting stuff going on in your affiliate? Anything cool that the affiliate's working on or a big challenge you're tackling in 2023?
Well, I'm proud that I'm working for more than one. I'm secretary of McHenry County. I'm secretary of Fox Valley. And I'm also secretary of Libertarian Party of Illinois. So
cool.
Yeah.
Are each of those like nested within each other, or are you like so in demand you're crossing county lines to go help in two areas?
Well, no, we were doing most of our state stuff still via Zoom. I did make it a goal to go to each chapter, each active group at one point during the next year, during 2023. So, but we're still doing all of our official state stuff online on Zoom calls, or not Zoom, not the. I think it's Uber meetings, but whatever. We're probably, hopefully, we'll move away from that in 23.
Good stuff. How about everybody else? Anything cool going on in your affiliate, county, state, otherwise?
Well, I kind of hinted to it a little bit earlier, but we managed to organize a few more of our county affiliates. We got 3 of them this year, Graham, Greenlee, and Apache County. And I just want to say that Apache County is the single most kick-ass county of everybody, because immediately out the gate, they managed to fundraise through event raffling and a bunch of other stuff that they were doing over like I think close to $10,000 like within the first couple of months. So that's big for a group of like 5 guys.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Right.
How about, go ahead,
South Carolina, and for the last 3 meetings, we've had 3 separate individuals show up who are seeking to get the Libertarian nomination for President of the United States. First month, we had a Mr. Mike Termat. I guess he was originally from Florida, but he's in Maryland now. And last month, we had Chase Oliver from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And this month, I guess it was yesterday, Saturday, right? We had Mr. Lars Mapstead. So all 3 gentlemen, I didn't know any of them. They all seem like good people, reasonable people. They're not out in left field. But I don't know how many more candidates there might be out there. But those 3 that showed up to our meetings.
That's awesome to hear people are getting on the trail already. It's definitely starting, right? I feel like we're right around the corner. It feels like 2024 is a long ways away and we just came off 2022, but I feel like actually the presidential cycle starts really right now, so should be exciting to see all of these announcements coming out. Has anyone else been seeing exciting stuff in their affiliates that we can chat about now? I always like to hear what's going on in the field.
Going backwards a couple of months, we had the November election. We had one person run for United States Congress, and he is planning on doing it again. We had elections for statewide state offices. The Republicans missed on putting someone onto the ballot. So Chris Crawford, who was running for treasurer, got 23% of the vote, which is enough for major party status for 2 years. Massachusetts major party status has very strange consequences, but she did get us major party status, which is what she was trying to do. There were 2 other third parties on the ballot here and there. Neither of them had a candidate who could get 3% of the vote. Of course, they were running in many-way races, and therefore they did not get third major party status. So we did well, given the objective.
I'm trying to think of other fun things we can discuss here. Do people usually hang out silently or chit chat?
Past meetings have been more active than this, Lainey. What can I say that is not the same? Last year, I published a novel. And in the near future, the novel will also be showing up in paperback and hardback. At the moment, it's an ebook. Practical Exercise is a not exactly Harry Potter fantasy. That is, we have a magical school, but it's not an English public school, which seems to be awful places. It's an American research university in terms of what it sounds like. So it's quite different.
Well, I could talk about some of the stuff that came up in the state admin meeting for the CRM that we're trying to possibly set up fundraising for in the future as one of the updates that we want. That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, happy to hear more about it.
Well, Ken Roman was talking about so Civi CRM is an open source program, just for anybody who's not aware. And the guys who code it actually have a bounty out for approximately $10,000 to rework the way that multi-site works on it. And the current version of multi-site is actually what is like putting the state affiliate IT guys in sort of plastic handcuffs for certain things that we want to do that we have to go to national for. It's basically the way that the current multi-site works is if you have an elevated access level to be able to do something that is within multi-site, you can see all of the other sites that are within the multi-site and you can affect them as well. So one example is like if you want a contribution page and I just want one for Arizona. If I had access to edit anything on that, then I would also be able to edit stuff for Kentucky. So approximately $10,000 to have that reworked, and that would actually like solve like 90% of the complaints that have been coming along from the various affiliates that have the CRM. So I don't know how that would be set up, if there's something legal with the FEC, or if that's something that national can do, or if that's something that even the state parties could fund. But that is definitely something that is an upgrade that would unlock the rest of the potential.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So let me see if I understand this. Is this a bug bounty, or almost like they're saying, hey, you know, if anyone can resolve this, we'll pay kind of a finder's fee or creator's fee for 10 grand to build this feature?
It's a feature request that it's they're basically saying it's $10,000 for them to redraft the whole way that multi-site works. So.
And yeah, so to confirm, they're trying to pay that to someone else, or they're saying
they're requesting that for the upgrade.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, but yeah, that's basically the situation with that. But it would be very interesting to see that happen. However it happens, whether it's somebody privately that does it, whether it's the states, whether it's national. I mean, raising 10 grand shouldn't be that hard. It's just the format that it takes, which was something that Ken was talking about. That there's some legal issues when it comes to national doing things because it's all FEC.
Yeah, we always want to figure out how we're doing things in compliance, right? But that's really interesting. And let me just, share with you, Nathan, or anyone else who has ideas like this on their mind. Obviously, we work super closely with Ken. Huge shout out to Ken Wellman, by the way. I don't know if everyone in the party knows how hard that man works, but he volunteers very, very hard. Lots of people around the country spend countless hours and every single week to do stuff, but Ken deserves a special shout out. I'm sure you guys all know that. I've heard a bit about this from Ken in the past, but if there's any ideas like this, I just want to let everyone know we are currently in the process of building our tech roadmap for the year of 2023, starting obviously with some near-term stuff. So if there's ideas that can help unlock your affiliate or just make you more productive through the tools that National maintains, we want to hear all about it. So Nathan, I know we've got a ticket process. If anyone hasn't submitted that idea, obviously Ken works very closely with us, but feel free to submit that as a ticket. And I would just be interested in hearing if anyone wants to be part of our user needs discussions or focus groups. I guess it's probably too formal of a way of thinking about it, but we're talking to really passionate power users, including that state admins group. So more to come on that, but love to hear feature requests. Here's a flip way of thinking about all of that. What's been the single biggest thing that's unlocked someone to do, to do work in their affiliate? Is there, whether it's the CRM or tools or fundraising or knowledge they've gained from another affiliate? I'd love to hear about that.
I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but it's absolutely been the CRM.
Yeah, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Tell me more specifically so we can understand what the special sauce is and scale it out to other people.
So one thing with voter data, obviously you have to sign an NDA because there's a lot of sensitive data. But after you pass that, and once you're using it effectively, your walk lists, your call lists, your signature gathering, all the ballot access efforts, volunteer efforts, organizing counties, literally everything that the party does becomes that many more times efficient. Just because you have tools within the CRM that build things out for you. We have mapping tools that we can print these Excel files and they'll go straight into a map, and you have a walking list that'll be like, okay, you go from here to here to here to here. And it's your most efficient route to go through things. Your call lists. There's a tool within CRM that you can write out a script for people to use based on what your call is going on for. There's just a massive amount of potential in there that once you get trained on the basics and you take a little bit of time to look at, it's just a massively powerful tool. And then beyond that, beyond even the CRM, you have your website. There's so many things that you can do with a website. I mean, it's the modern age. People look for a website first. So if your state affiliate doesn't have a website, you're probably not known except by word of mouth. So, oh, here they come.
They're back.
Here we come.
All right, everyone. We are coming back.
Okay. Well, we're having a whole lot of fun out here. George has been teasing us with his dad jokes, and we've been doing some focus grouping tonight. And thank you, Nathan. That was all really great. I'm making a note of that, and we'll definitely have Andy Bukovich, our CTO, circle back to you so we can hear more about that, because that's really appreciated.
That is better. I was going to suggest tic-tac-toe or Jackbox. We're productive.
I've been spending too much time on Clubhouse in the past, year or two, you guys. I'm getting better at this chit chat. Speaking of which, shout out, if you like this kind of thing, there is a pretty active libertarian Clubhouse crew who hosts almost like every hour of the day. There's something fun to be doing over there.
All right, are we all back? I actually don't know how to tell if we're all back.
Let me look.
Okay.
The second to last to leave, it was me and Kathy. So if Kathy's here, then we're all.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm looking. Okay. I think we're all here. And Connor Nepo just joined as well. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor, I believe. I'm trying to remember if I actually made it. The motion is to approve the executive director's contract.
You
so
hadn't
go ahead.
Yeah, you hadn't made it yet, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and formally make that motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Let's go ahead and go to going once, going twice. Any further? Well, we can't discuss it. Just kidding. Let's go ahead and go to a roll call vote at our secretary's convenience.
Mr. Crum, if you could use ballot tab number 8, if it lets you do it. I don't know if there's some permissions problem.
Yeah, I have it pulled up. Are you ready?
I believe everyone is ready.
Fantastic. Mr. Benner.
Yes.
And there's our answer to that one. I still cannot click inside of it. And
okay, hold on one second.
That's going to be permanent.
Okay, that email address, the Outlook one, that is the correct one?
Yes.
Because it says you're an editor. Okay, well, I'll do this one.
Do this one. Let me log out and log back in.
Okay, I'll do this one. Mr. Benner?
Yes.
Mr. Blankenship?
Yes.
Mr. Bowen?
Yes.
Mr. Duque?
Yes.
Mr. Eklund?
Yes, indeed.
Ms. Eiler?
Absolutely.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Has Ms. Gabbard joined us yet? Okay, Mr. Pankey?
I do not believe so. Yes. In consultation with
Both Linnea and Region 7 members, I will abstain.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Nana?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Rufo?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yeehaw.
Codpiece? Madam Chair, it's 1501.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, everyone. And thank you. And congratulations to our new, for real executive director.
Congratulations, Laney.
You guys hooked me. How'd you do that?
Sorcery, witchcraft, dark magic.
We painted our faces blue and yelled freedom.
We got some of your hair.
All right, so let's take a look here. I am trying to see what is next on our agenda because we moved it around.
The awards committee, Madam Chair.
Okay, so awards committee. Is there anyone who applied for the awards committee, or anyone who is currently on the awards committee, or anyone who is going to speak on behalf of someone who wants to be on the awards committee? Any of you, are you on this call right now and would you like to speak? And if so, please raise your hand so I can see you. Looking for hands. I don't see a single hand. Madam Secretary, you had a suggestion on what to do for this agenda item.
Yeah, I was suggesting after you had given the opportunity for anyone to speak or on their own behalf or on behalf of any of the applicants, that I tomorrow or this evening send out an OPA vote ballot to expire in 3 days. That's a detail I just added. Approval voting, the highest vote getter wins, no majority required.
I am totally fine with that. Does anyone have any objection to doing that? I know there are people on the awards committee. You are certainly free to weigh in.
Works for me.
Okay, there we go.
Good.
There we go. All right, let's do that. Okay, so moving right along. Next up, we have policy manual amendments coming out of Chair's Ad Hoc Policy Manual Committee. Okay, so this is a proposal by the committee, which is Ms. Harlows, Ms. Yanuskevich, and Mr. Elliott. Thank you very much. You can go into new business with previous notice. Click on policy manual changes. Scroll on down. And then you'll find everything that you need. Let's see. Madam Secretary, can you help us navigate to the easiest place to find the different changes?
Yeah, if you go to the OneNote and new business with previous notice, where it says policy manual changes, if you hit on that PDF that's in there, it is in markup.
Got it.
And the three of us had intended to move this in two separate motions. Of course, any of them are divisible or amendable, but there's two distinct sections to our policy manual, the standing rules and the special rules of order. So we were intending upon moving in bulk the changes to the special rules of order first, and then the standing rules. I do not know how the committee wishes to handle this, if everyone has reviewed it, whether you'd like me, Kathy, and Brian to go through the changes briefly. I'm not sure how the committee wishes to handle.
Well, Madam Chair, I would actually like to
move to postpone this agenda item. While I really appreciate and think we should go and give this all the due course that it needs to have, I think we have a lot of other items on this meeting already, and the existing items that we've talked about in executive session, and that we'll be going into executive session in the executive committee meeting. I just think that getting to the budget items and other items that are on the agenda are things that we should concentrate.
I'm not trying to be a pain, Madam Chair, but there's debate going on.
Yeah, just
apologies.
It's okay.
I would like to move to postpone this item to our February next meeting.
Just reserve your comments and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so we had a motion and Dustin Anna has his hand up.
Yeah, no, I'm not seconding. I'm just having my hand up.
Okay, this would need a second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Okay, I think we're probably going to go to, okay, any discussion?
Mr. Pankey has the right to speak first. I would like to speak after.
Okay, let's get hands up if you want to speak for or against it. Mr. Pankey, go right ahead and speak your motion.
Point of information, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Does this need a second?
It was seconded, Mr. Bowen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. I apologize.
All good. Okay, Mr. Pankey, you can go ahead and speak to your motion.
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair. Sorry for not offering this, waiting until this point to start my discussion. But for the things that I said earlier, that I think that this should be given due consideration. I also think in areas where we're doing amendments to the policy manual, they have a tendency to get into areas where we could get into more extended motion practice, like motions to divide and motions to amend in this area. And although I have, reviewed the items myself and would like to go over and discuss a couple of them, I just think that we have these other items that we need to get onto. And I don't think that there's anything that are in these changes that are urgent to be concluded at this, that need to be done at this meeting, that cannot be done in February. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Harless?
Yeah, I'll speak briefly, though I kind of would like to know if the other two committee members feel the same way, because I don't want to speak out of turn. This was properly noticed way ahead of time. So to say that no one has had an opportunity to give it due consideration, I don't think it's fair to the committee, where we busted butt to fulfill our promise to have this done by a certain date. Cleaning up the policy manual helps us operate better. To keep pushing this off, we might have other things going on in February. There was a committee that worked very hard over the holidays. And if some things need to be divided out and heard later, fine. But to just bulk postpone this, I just don't think is proper, when we really made sure that we were considerate and worked hard and gave the LNC plenty of notice for this.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Harlos. Mr. Duque?
I'm sorry, is it my turn?
Yep. Yeah, Miguel.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I would be happy, if the body wanted to get into this business item to vote on it today. Although in general, I echo Mr. Pankey's sentiments about wanting some additional time to go into the changes kind of more individually. If the body felt that we had that time today, then we could totally dig into it. Because although, however, I think I would prefer to do it at a future meeting, because although it was noticed well in advance, previous times that we've done updates to the policy manual, it was divided a little bit more with sort of statements of intent on the different changes and what their impact would be. And there are certain items in the kind of bulk changes that I definitely think should be, if not divided, should be discussed so that we really understand the implications on the staff and different committees and their responsibilities and their ability to, have oversight in these different areas. So I want to better understand the impact, again, to different stakeholders on some of these items. And it might just be more efficiently done after a little bit more division on the items. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duque. We now have Mr. Ford.
Yeah, of course, with respect to Miguel's consideration. But I think we need to point out that this is going to be a challenging year. In every meeting, we're going to have issues. And every meeting, there is going to be unfortunately, some sort of crisis du jour. It's critical that we take upon these policy manual changes as they come up to us. And so I believe yeoman's work was done here. And let's just work through it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ford. And we're going to go to Ms. Harlos.
And I would hope that perhaps the committee would consider just going through the special rules of order changes if they're not inclined to go through all of them. Most of the changes are in the standing rules. That's the larger portion. If perhaps we could do the smaller portion. And just another thing to say, obviously the LNC needs to review things. It's their due diligence, but also committees are generally referred to people that this was a chair's advisory committee that she felt had certain qualifications or, knowledge, or she trusted in certain areas to take a look at. So not saying that we're any better or smarter or anything like that, but, if we could at least go through some of them, I think that would respect the work of the committee, perhaps divide between the two, do the smaller section, which is the special rules of order.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next, we have Mr. Elliott.
I'd just like to give everyone an overview because I was sort of the overview guy on this 3-person committee. And the overview, the charge we got was to turn this into a workable and clean and very specific kind of a document. We worked hard to get all of the contradictions out, all of the employment stuff into the EPCC instead of the policy manual, et cetera, et cetera. So I think as Mr. Ford just said, I agree that the vast majority of the work was done by Karen Ann and Miss
How do you say?
Thank you. Yanuskevich. Thank you. Anyway, so I would like to just state that we thought about this hard and long. We've done a lot of work, and I would ask if there are specific issues that bother any of you that we would, discuss those in this meeting.
All right.
But I agree that we need to move forward on this. This is part of the whole restructuring of the organization and getting our ducks in a row and having solid, well-written governance documents. I'll stop.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Okay, any further discussion on this item? Okay, remind me, has a motion been made yet?
Yeah, Mr. Pankey moved to postpone.
Okay. And it was seconded. Okay, so I think we need to just go to a vote. So let's go ahead and do a roll call vote at your convenience.
Yeah, one moment.
Mr. Crumbs, whoever.
Yeah, Mr. Crumbs having some, we figured out it's permissions with his connection. It's something we can't solve this meeting, so I'll be taking care of this. Let me just put the right language here. Okay, Mr. Benner.
Abstain.
Mr. Blankenship.
Pass.
Mr. Bowen.
No.
Mr. Duque.
Yes.
Mr. Eklund.
Abstain.
Ms. Eiler.
Yes.
Mr. Elliott.
No.
Mr. Ford.
No.
Mr. Pankey.
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian.
No.
I will vote no. Mr. Nana.
Abstain.
Mr. Nikala.
No.
Mr. Rufo.
No.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
No.
Matt, there's a pass. Mr. Blankenship.
Abstain.
Madam Chair, it is 4 yes, 8 no, 4 express abstentions.
Okay, the motion failed. All right, so now we're back on the same agenda item. And I believe it warrants a motion if we're going to continue.
I will move, and I'll do an overview if it gets a second, to amend the special rules of order as indicated in the markup copy of the policy manual distributed to the LNC.
Okay. Do we need a second?
Second.
All right. Would you like to speak to your motion or walk us through it in a nutshell?
Yes, and I would also like either of the other committee members to just jump in and interrupt me, because this was a group effort if there's something I'm forgetting or not stating properly. So again, this was to clean up and clarify. The first thing was to make it clear this has always been a tradition. It's never been in the policy manual, but everyone understands this to be the case, that the vice chair serves the same intermediary role that regional representatives serve for affiliates in their respective regions. This is just cleaning up in the next thing. I'm just moving through it quickly. People stop me with questions. The executive committee, like where it said, you know, they can do everything except amend the policy manual. It says addition, deletion, or amendment. That's all subsumed under amendment. Those extra words are not necessary. The executive committee is also empowered to do other things that are specifically delegated to it. And it says specifically making it explicit that the LNC controls the party and it has the authority to rescind decisions of the executive committee. That was always implicit. We felt it needed to be explicit. Also, on previous notice, this was a contradiction. Or potential contradiction, if you read this hyperliterally, it could be understood to say that at our regular in-person meetings, nothing could be added to the agenda. That was never the intent. So it just notes that previous notice isn't required unless required in the bylaws or the parliamentary authority. Special meetings always require previous notice, so it made that explicit. On the proposed agenda, we never do a credentials report and paperwork check. Most people don't even know what that is. I guarantee you probably, well, maybe some people from the last LNC know, but I bet you most people here have no idea what that means. I could tell you what that means. It's the opportunity, and you already have this right under the bylaws, to claim that an LNC member is no longer a party member and therefore they do not qualify to be an LNC member anymore. Staff alerts people to that. It doesn't need to be on the agenda. Appointment of assistant treasurer at post-convention meeting is already up here. I don't know how this got missed for so many years, so it was duplicated on here. It's also required at the post-convention meeting to elect the Historical Preservation Committee chair. This also needed to be explicit. Non-party members can always be excluded from any meeting. The right to attend meetings is to party members. Without objection, without a vote, non-party members could just come. But if an LNC member objects, non-party members can be excluded. This here on the minutes, we had two separate procedures for approving LNC minutes and executive committee minutes. It was cumbersome and crazy. It needs to be just one simplified procedure for auto approval of both LNC and executive committee minutes. If you had noticed the last time I put up something for auto approval, I said, well, you have this deadline for this set of minutes, which is the executive committee, a different deadline for this one. It makes it really difficult to juggle. So we standardized one auto approval process, no matter what kind of minutes they are. So that got rid of quite a bit of language. Electronic mail ballots, clarifying the procedure we've always done, that you're allowed to debate in the ballot, but the initial ballot can't contain debate because that's started by the secretary. And here, this term, votes abstain, that's incoherent. To abstain means you didn't vote. So you can't vote abstain. That's just an absolutely incoherent notion. Here, we don't do this. For original main motions, somebody needs to document the time at which the tally was announced. We have recordings for this. The purpose of this is if somebody drops out of the meeting and comes back within 5 minutes, they have a right to vote. We're perfectly capable of noting that without having some formal policy that somebody is supposed to be keeping track of all these times. Here, convention oversight, where it says the chair and secretary are ex officio non-voting members. The chair is already an ex officio member of every committee. So that really didn't need to be in there, but it does make a slight difference in that the chair as ex officio in her broad authority can vote. So this just leaves her at her broad authority and just leaves the secretary as a ex officio non-voting member. The chair usually doesn't come to any of these meetings unless there's some kind of urgent matter that requires the chair's attention. Oh, actually, I'm wrong. Never mind. The chair is non-voting. I thought they were voting. I'm getting confused with Colorado. So, yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. That was my understanding.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Dealing with too many bylaws. This isn't bylaws, but a lot of times this is in the bylaws. So there's no reason to state the chair up here as ex officio. She's already a non-voting member of every committee as ex officio. Interim committee chairs. This created a conflict. The LNC can create a committee and name the chair in a motion. So interim committee chairs, here it gave the chair blanket authority, whereas the LNC has the right to exercise its authority and in a motion creating an ad hoc committee can name the chair. Now, this budget thing, I believe Todd, it's been a little bit now. I believe you had taken a look at this, but if you haven't and you're not comfortable with it, I'm more than willing to put this one aside. It's really cleaning up the language. I don't believe that there is any change in meaning, because here, for instance, the phrase, the chair with the consent of the executive committee, that means the executive committee. If the chair has to get the approval of the executive committee, it's then the executive committee making the decision. So we just clean this up, and it said that the executive committee gets to do these certain things, which was already in there. Don't believe there's any meaning changed. This things having to do with the CRM, this stuff is way too granular for a policy manual. This is an internal manual. I mean, an internal policy to staff in the way they interact with the CRM. This just we deleted out a lot of this granularity and just put the broad duties that we have as far as who owns the data and the rights that a state affiliate has if they exit the CRM. So all of this stuff that's like, it says, like, for instance, we're definitely giving an Excel spreadsheet with all of this stuff, but it also includes this breakout. Like, these are just basic data points. It doesn't need to be in the policy manual, particularly when it says, and other stuff at the discretion of LPHQ. All of this is an internal LPHQ thing. It shouldn't be in the LNC policy manual. This is not something we do as an LNC. It's something that the executive director and staff do. So that is it for the special rules of order changes. The rest are standing rules changes. So I have made that motion.
Okay, so was your motion specific? Okay, your motion was specific to the special rules. Okay, been moved and seconded. Any questions or further discussion? And everyone's clear on what we're voting on. We're voting on everything that Ms. Harlow's just went over with us. Okay, do we need to do a roll call vote on this?
Yes, because it requires a higher vote threshold.
That's right. All right, so we will go to that at your convenience.
Mr. Benner?
Yes.
Mr. Blankenship?
Yes.
Mr. Bowen?
Yes.
Mr. Duque?
Yes.
Mr. Eklund?
Yes.
Ms. Eiler?
Yes.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Mr. Pankey?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Nana?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Rufo?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Okay, Madam Chair, it's 16-0-0.
All right, great. Motion passes. Let's move to the next one.
Madam Chair, if it's amenable to the other committee members and out of deference to the LNC members who felt that this should be postponed in the spirit of compromise, I would like to move to postpone the standing rules portion to the next meeting and thank the LNC for at least hearing portion of the proposals.
I will second.
All right. Thank you very much. It has been moved and seconded to postpone the rest of the policy manual proposals. Any further discussion?
I would just like to say thank you, Ms. Harlow. It's glad we got this work on the special rules of order done, and I look forward to talking about this more in February.
Okay. Any objection? Okay, if there's no objection, I don't believe we need a roll call vote. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, the motion passes. That has been postponed until our February meeting. So we will make sure that that gets put on the agenda. Okay, so let's jump to our next agenda item. See here. Sorry, I'm going back and forth between screens.
It is Mr. Ford's Affiliate Support Committee motion.
Okay.
Great. Let me, as I promised, I'll get right to the point here. First of all, I want to thank Madam Chair, Ms. Houston, for working with me and coming up with, I think, is a very fair, appropriate compromise to some of the conversations we had at our last meeting. So the proposal will be worded as simply as this. A $10,000 annual budget, subject to, of course, fairly about a 5-minute definition of the underlying proposal and where the money is going to be spent. A couple of notes ahead of time. Some of this does involve social media marketing costs and budgeting for them separately, so they're attributed directly to the line item where they're being spent. That work, of course, will be done under the purview of Ms. Houston and the professional staff at the party. So this really represents not us going out and doing our own social media marketing, our own advertising for anything we're doing. It just represents really a cost accounting technique where we've got a specific budget and we have to work with the confines of that, and we're accountable for all the normal processes in both securing the expenditure and how it's actually prosecuted, if you will. Folks, you've heard my presentation a number of times. To the point, there are 3 working groups within the Affiliate Support Committee. There are costs attributed to all of these. The overall budget, $10,000, would represent a $3,000 increase from last year. We are asking that it be a separate line item so that we are accountable to it. And I also want to point out that all of these working groups have real immediate potential to, A, increase membership, and particularly within the all-important college affiliate program, actually to help us develop a volunteer workforce that will allow us to support, well, let's be blunt, ballot access. You know, the idea of spending a little bit of money to hopefully get college students across the country over the next couple of years where they can save us 5, 7, 8, who knows what in 2024 petition cost will be, is very, very attractive, as well as providing a pipeline for future members. So briefly, there's 3 components. There's affiliate in a box. Mr. Rob Coward runs that he's the Pennsylvania State Chair. He's a member of the committee. The committee at this point is within weeks of what I'll call a reviewable, deliverable product. All right. This has been placed on very high priority status by by Angela. And this is going to comprise essentially 2 areas. There's going to be a physical product that we're hoping to deliver to all 50 states as well as local affiliates. So we're budgeting about 100 to 125 kits total over the next year and a half. And the physical product will be, if anyone ever, and Ms. Harless, you can speak to this, if you're very involved in a state incorporation, there's a binder, and included in that binder are certain fundamental documents that Ms. Coward, in conjunction and working with Angela and her office, if you will, are in the process of creating. And that work, like I said, is about to be done, and we'll hopefully soon, within a few weeks, have a product that the LNC can look at. The second portion will be digital. We're looking to enhance and, if you will, make more accessible the type of digital artwork, and also bring some up to date, but the digital artwork that's already on the Libertarian website. And so that if affiliates are looking to do a business card, if they're looking to do, the world's smallest political quiz, whatever, if they're looking to customize it, they'll have easily accessible artwork that they could deliver to their printer and have their graphic artist just personalize it for that particular affiliate. With 100 to 125 pieces, we're budgeting about somewhere between $15 and $17 a piece plus shipping. So we're asking out of that $10,000, we're going to roughly attribute about $3,000 of it to the affiliate in a box. And we're hoping, again, to have a deliverable product very shortly. But that's the product that we're going to have in stock, too, for new affiliates when they're created. So there'll be that reach out through Affiliate Support Committee with the contacts established at the state level to make that available as quickly as possible. Rob, additionally, is working through our developing contact system, to have contacts at each state affiliate. So when folks either need a new kit, perhaps an update, suggestions, ideas, there'll be a rapid communication back and forth between the committee and the state affiliate. The second part is the part that I happen to be involved in, the affiliate hub. A couple developments on that. We're actually starting to use that. I don't know if anyone saw, right during the holidays, Olga from the Libertarian Party of Vermont sent out a killer statement, that they developed, and a couple of us workshopped with her, and a killer statement against our buddy Bernie, for his political cowardice and stepping away from that War Powers resolution at the very last minute, at the behest of everybody's favorite peacenik, Joe Biden. And we're able to support that through the network. What we've got coming up this month is we've got 1 defined and 2 more in the pipeline for the next 30 to 40 days, where we're going to support, if you will, local affiliates, a town council day or a city council day, where they attend city councils in a pre-planned, professional, unapologetically libertarian statements in sequence to effectively take over public comment at a city council meeting and provide, a real deliverable message to them about issues that impact the local community. Now, we want to take that, again, put it through the pipeline, get as many affiliates nationally shared as possible, but we also want to avail ourselves of social media marketing. And there's a cost in that. And, so with the occasional hard material, hard collateral, as well as digital marketing, we're estimating about a $3,000 to $3,500 budget for that. Third, and I think a really exciting program is what's taking place with the collaboration between the Libertarian Youth Organization and Linnea Gabbard's team, if you will. She's meeting in a week or two with a number of university libertarian professors to help further this goal. But they've got dozens of contacts in place to start, incredibly enough, libertarian, and we use the term loosely, affiliates at the college level in conjunction with the Libertarian Youth Organization. Now, there are startup costs involved in this and additional digital marketing. It's one thing if we go to adults who have formed an affiliate at a small town, or a community or a city or a county, we can expect them to come up with the costs associated. A little tougher to do that with the college crowd because a lot of these kids don't have a lot of money. So we're asking again to budget about $3,500 annually for costs for collateral, digital marketing, and some startup support costs at the college level, working in conjunction with the Libertarian Youth Organization. So you're looking, like I said, at a $10,000 ask. It's about $3,000 more than was budgeted last year. It represents less than, I think, less than 1% of the annual budget, yet I believe has a real opportunity to deliver membership growth and hopefully a volunteer base that'll be enthusiastic about petitioning. Doing it this year allows us to build up for hopefully a successful 2024 with these organizations in place. That's really it in a nutshell. And again, I appreciate Madam Chair and Ms. Houston providing this sort of idea and this framework and this support for the budgeting, of course, based on your approval. Happy to take any questions.
Mr. Ford, so your 17,500 was amended down before you made the motion to 10,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I want to make sure I had it right on the screen. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you guys. So I want everybody to understand what this vote is going to do. So I'm just going to give you, we're going to start by I'm going to give you some information. I do think affiliate box is important, and I love that, and we need it, and it needs to be much better than some of the stuff that we've had previously. So what this is going to come out of when Mr. Ford says it's 1% of the total budget, that's correct. But it is about half of the no, it's not about half. 17K would have been close to half. It's a much smaller chunk, which I appreciate, but it is a good chunk of the political impact budget. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I don't want you to be mad later if you find out that something doesn't happen. So out of 81,000 total in political impact, there's about 25,000 there that is loosely, not directly earmarked for political impact stuff. The rest of that stuff sort of goes towards contracting, like contractor salaries and comms tools that we use currently, some of those being meltwater, media monitoring things, social media tools, and so on and so forth. So some of the things that we were looking at doing over the next year, you're not going to be able to do all these. You're going to have to, something's going to have to go unless we fundraise more. Freedom Fest costs about $20,000. $10,000 of it comes out of political impact. There's a chunk of contractor salary that comes out of that that I'm not going to get into here because we're not in an executive session. Pork Fest, it only cost $300, and I paid for that last term, but it could cost $5,000 to $10,000 to send just a couple of staffers up there with materials, the whole thing. The space is paid for, but everything that we'd be doing there is not. Rage Against the War Machine, I'm seeking $1,500 to make us a sponsor for our own event. We put $0 into our own event at this point. It would be decent for us to put in at least another $1,000. So that would be a thing. The Bitcoin conference, if we want to have a presence there, that's going to cost at least $10,000. Independent National Council, which has asked us to be a co-sponsor and essentially a co-host for almost no money. They're throwing thousands of dollars worth of free tickets at us. It would be really distasteful if we didn't send at least $1,000 to that. If you wanted video activism for, say, 4 Dan Smott's videos this year, they're $1,000 each. That's $4,000. What I just described is $38,000 to $40,000 worth of things that we would like. They're on our wish list, and some of them are things that we do every single year, like Freedom Fest. We only have $25,000 floating around right now. If we put $10,000 of that to the affiliate support budget, it comes out of that $25,000. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just letting you know what you're voting on so that we understand the way the budget is structured right now, because we spent a lot of time talking about it last time, and I'm not 100% sure if everybody understood it. but that's all I got right now. Ms. Harlow?
We had briefly talked last time, and something I would like to see, which has been a tradition, but I'd like to see it in the motion, and I'm certainly willing to do it in the next motion, is that empowered committees that have a budget commit to raise the money or they don't spend the budget. And I think that would then at least mostly alleviate some of the concerns brought up by the chair, because the affiliate support committee would need to raise their budget. That is something the historical committee has always done, minus 1 year, which was COVID.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Harlow. Okay, do we have anyone else who has any questions or wants to speak for or against it? Okay, anybody else? Okay, we got Ms. Houston.
Awesome. So I want to jump in and just kind of echo some of the stuff you said there, Angela, just to explain a little bit more about how the line item works. So I believe I'm just like furiously doing some arithmetic to keep up with the new information from Mr. Ford. So the total budget is roughly $88,000, and that covers anything we do that's basically comms related or political related, other than the special things we've already articulated, which are ballot access and candidate support. So pretty much anything you want to do has to come out of there. And we've got a number of things that are earmarked within there for staff projects. And so as we were articulating a way to accomplish this, it looks like Todd's got his hand raised. So I'll let him jump in a second. What we're trying to accomplish is to give the committee a lot of flexibility throughout the year as political ideas come up, to be able to vote on that as is. So I think the right way to think about this is, do you want to decide all of those decisions now and allocate that money now, or do you want to save it for the rest of the year? As we've been telling everybody, we've set up this budget to be based on a $1.7 roughly $1 million revenue, and we have big plans to make more money than that. And I know that as we are able to look at our revenue generators and see a path to more money, we might be upping this amount. But right now, I want everyone to imagine this is like a fixed amount that we have for the whole year. So as we're looking at proposals, I know we've got actually 2 other ones later today. Even just know that this is kind of where all these dollars are competing from. So there's a number of different ways to get at, I think, what Mr. Ford is trying to do, and I'd be happy to speak to that. But just wanted to make sure that was super clear. This is like the budget for the year. Angela, let me know if you want us to speak to any rules of thumbs around what's kind of available for that pot of money in terms of making sure we're able to work on political projects as they crop up. Let me leave it there for now and hand it off to whoever is next, but I've got a couple other ways that we could solve this if that's helpful.
Okay. Mr. Hagopian?
Yeah, I think I made a number of points last time, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. All I will say is that if you vote against this special budget for this, it doesn't mean we're not going to spend the money on this. Mm-hmm. We still have the ability to spend that money within the larger outreach and activism general budget that we put in place. If you vote for this, it does mean we can't spend the $10,000 on anything else that we wanted to. Yes. So yes, you are voting specifically to put this money towards what Pat Ford displayed. That is the result of this motion. But if you vote no, we can still do that. We just have the ability to shift depending on what happens this year. So again, I'll be voting no, but I just wanted to make sure people understood why. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone who's going to speak in favor of the motion? I'm guessing Mr. Ford is. Okay, let's let Mr. Ford go.
So again, here's the issue from a realistic perspective. Again, I hate to beat this to death, but we're talking about affiliate development and a real potential for volunteer development at a fraction of the cost of virtually every other budget. And I just have to ask, we're looking for volunteers, for example, to petition. And in very recent times, we've either come achingly just above or in one significant case, we lost ballot access because of our inability as a party to develop a significant resource for volunteers. And that's what, quite frankly, all this is. So I see this as an investment. I have to disagree when folks talk about emphasize that we're taking money away. We invest so little in our affiliate development. It's actually kind of astonishing. And past committees have done some yeoman's work and done some great stuff and some contests and good stuff. But in terms of overall development, one of the challenges we've had over the last few years is with affiliate relationships, because they've been challenged and troubled. Now, I'm not saying this administration is going to conduct anything remotely like past administrations, the sort of carnage that took place. But again, it's a $1.7 million budget. And the reality of trying to get money outside of the budgetary process is intentionally challenged, because the point of having a budget is to be able to look forward to the year and spend and invest appropriately. If we've got an opportunity for relatively small dollars and it takes a month or two before we can get the approval of the budgetary process, very often that opportunity is lost. So it's difficult to run. And listen, I'll do my best. If you tell me, Pat, you're getting nothing and you like it, I'll deal with it. All right. And I'll fight my way through it. But at the same time, we can't, we saw in New York, we can't do things on the fly. All right. And that wasn't this administration's fault or anywhere near their responsibility. But the reality is a small investment in this case has the opportunity to yield great things. Last year, we had a $7,000 budget and we budgeted that. And now we're looking to A, send out physical product in the form of the affiliate in the box, and B, provide little bits of startups to help us, again, to build college affiliates. It was just something this party has tried valiantly in many cases, but has never been able to do. And because of the timing with Libertarian Youth Organization, this is probably one of the best opportunities we have in a year before the election. We start doing this stuff in 2024, it's going to be too late. We need to start this work now. Some type of investment capital has got to be put forth. Again, we'll do our best if not, but it'd be a big jump start.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ford. Okay, we're going to go to Miguel. We're going to circle back to Ms. Houston after our other LNC members have spoken. Go ahead, Miguel Duque.
Thank you. I have just been kind of sitting back on this item and listening to debate, because I'm naturally, very supportive of affiliate support activities, and in agreement with a lot of what Patrick is proposing, and the rest of the affiliate support committee. I think that they're putting together really good plans, and I think now I'm still either unsure about it or kind of inclined to vote no, merely because of even though I'd like for a lot of these proposals, that the committee is putting forward to move forward, I think that it could be done within kind of the existing. I kind of want to really leave staff in control of administrating a lot of these processes, and I think that the affiliate support committee could kind of work in tandem with the staff, similarly to how other committees like the IS committee is doing. The IS committee, for instance, doesn't have its own budgetary line item. We're kind of working to guide and advise the staff on how to best manage our technology assets and such. And I think that in comparison to previous LNCs, we'll really be able to work a lot better with the staff and trust that they will move forward with our recommendations. And kind of the reason, again, additional reason that I'm now inclined to vote against this is because various affiliate support programs, activities, etc., may well overlap with areas of other committees, such as IS committee. Like, for instance, IS committee is very eagerly exploring right now things like e-learning content for affiliates as well as candidates. You know, there's a lot of overlap for as well with a candidate support committee. And I just think if we start breaking out sort of budget items for specific committees, then it may cause kind of unwanted either competition or a situation where committees need to start making their own budget motions as opposed to just kind of working hand in hand with staff. So that's where I'm at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel. Let's go now to Brian Elliott.
Madam Chair, Dustin had mentioned this in chat, and so I wanted to bring it up here. Time has expired on this. We're way over.
All right, well, let me jump over to the agenda. All right, you're right. Time has expired. Okay, do we have... Well, we're supposed to adjourn in 8 minutes. What do you guys want to do?
I do.
Are we ready to vote?
Well, I'd like the opportunity to respond to Miguel's
okay, so time's expired, so we're not going to debate it until someone says... There's a couple
I'd like to make a motion
here.
to extend by 5 minutes.
Second.
Okay. Okay. Ooh, okay, we're going to go to a vote on whether or not we're going to extend time by 5 minutes. We're going to do, Madam Secretary, can we do a quick roll call vote? Just like on a spreadsheet?
I'm sorry?
Can we do a quick roll call vote on this, just like on a spreadsheet? Like,
well, that's what this is.
You're right. I'm so sorry.
But I won't do all the filling in. I'll just.
That's what I mean. Yeah, just a tally.
Oh, well, crap. I didn't blank it out. Hold on. Mr. Benner?
Yes.
Mr. Blankenship?
No.
Mr. Bowen?
Yes.
Mr. Duque?
No.
Mr. Eklund?
No.
Ms. Eiler? I'll come back. Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Mr. Pankey?
No.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Nana?
This is a motion to extend time, correct?
Yes,
correct.
sir.
No.
Mr. Nikala?
Yes.
Mr. Rufo?
No.
Mr. Smith?
No.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Ms. Eiler?
Yes. I hope you hear my...
Yeah, I got you now. Madam Chair, this is a motion that requires a 2/3 vote because it is to suspend the rules, basically. So the yeses did not get 2/3.
Okay. So I believe we're going to need to go straight to a vote on the motion right now. Are we ready to do that?
I still would like the opportunity to respond, but I guess I can't because there are issues
in the chat.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just can't be I can't be unfair. Okay, we're going to go to Madam Secretary. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Benner?
No.
Mr. Blankenship?
Can you clarify the motion?
Move to amend that $10,000 is taken from the Outreach and Activism General Expense Budget line 7000-81 and be placed into a new minor GL code affiliate support under the Core Services Budget section, line 7000-84.
Yes.
Mr. Bowen?
Yes.
Mr. Duque?
No.
Mr. Eklund?
Yes.
Ms. Eiler?
No.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Mr. Pankey,
Abstain.
Mr. Hagopian.
No.
I am going to vote yes. Mr. Nana,
Yes.
Mr. Nikela,
Yes.
Mr. Rufo,
No.
Mr. Smith,
Abstain.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
Madam Chair, it's 952.
Okay, does this one need 2/3?
No.
Okay, then I believe the motion passes.
Thank you all very, very much. I'm getting right to work tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ford. Moving on to our next agenda item.
It's a similar motion, Madam Chair, with regards to the Historical Preservation Committee.
Okay.
However, I am going to add to my notice motion a proviso, which I believe is within the scope of notice. The proviso shall be that the committee shall not spend any of these funds until it has raised the same amount of funds. So my motion is to add new revenue sub GL 4000-60 historical preservation in the amount of $2,500 and a new expense sub GL of $7,090 historical preservation in the amount of $2,500. As you can see, these are offsetting because this committee is going to raise its money. So I'm sorry, that's argument. That's why the proviso is there. These are two offsetting budget lines, revenue and expense.
Okay. Does it have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right. Madam Secretary, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, I think a lot of it got spoken to before, but there's a few points that were made before that I wanted to raise. There's certain committees that are specialty committees that need to not have to go to the LNC or staff with specific motions. They are empowered committees that have expertise in the area that they're at, and they need to have a budget. But I also think they need to be accountable to raise that budget. So this is not taking money from any other line. It's adding a revenue line and an expense line that zero out. That's the way this committee has always been handled.
Okay. Let's go down the line. Mr. Ford?
I'm sorry, that was archived. But of course, I rise in support of this. The value of this committee is mighty. Thank you.
Okay. Let's hear from our Executive Director, Ms. Houston.
Awesome, thanks. I just want to clear up some additional information on this so everyone is equipped with the information to do a good vote. We had asked when we were doing the budget process, each of our committee leads to ask us for any resources that they need so we could budget appropriately. And thank you to Ms. Harlos who had done that. In this political impact line, which is supporting our political impact committees, we had already allocated $6,200 for this committee. It is already earmarked, won't get touched, doesn't need an additional line for the staff to not spend it. I completely understand if people want to have a special line item for it. What's really important for people to understand is how much this committee costs to run so that we can vote for the appropriate amount. So there are three major expenses that go into all of this. One is storage fees. Second is the cost to run Wikipedia. And then the third is any additional purchases for items that might go into our historical content. So if we're hoping to appropriately fund this committee, what it costs is, when we can't change, is at least $3,700, right? On top of that, if we also want to purchase anything else, we can give any additional budget. And it sounds like, Karen Ann's been really consistent in requesting $2,500 to do this. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. That's the amount that's already been earmarked, and it's already set aside, for within the budget line item. Furthermore, I want to make sure we all kind of understand how things work in terms of raising money. While I really appreciate the sentiment, it's very much appreciated to try to raise money before we spend it. That's fantastic. I do think we need a little bit more discussion around how and when we can spend money that's been raised to make sure we're doing that within the lines of budget line items, because there are some other things to consider about, in addition to cash on hand. When are we spending that money? All that good stuff. So let's get into that if anyone has any questions, but really appreciate the idea to raise the money. It's very much appreciated for committees to help us do that. I just want to make sure everyone's aware how much this costs and how much is already set aside for the earmark. And this is not needed if we're trying to protect that money for the committee, unless we want to split something out specifically. So thought I would just share that information.
Thank you, Ms. Houston. Okay, next we're going to hear from Mr. Hagopian.
Yeah, I'll just talk real briefly. As Lainey said, this is in the budget. However, I will be voting yes on this due to the revenue offset. And what that does do, in my opinion, is, Karen Ann, that would allow you to have the $2,500 for sure, whereas Lainey could not spend that money on other things if she decided she needed to later. And so I think this is exactly what you're looking for. Lainey will still try to do the other things within the existing budget that we planned for. But due to the fact that you're offsetting the revenue, I will be a yes vote on this. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Ford?
Yeah, just briefly, Ms. Houston, maybe a suggestion offline is to have a meeting with a variety of committee heads so that we can understand, working with Mr. Hagopian, what the parameters are on how we can raise money, what type of mechanisms we can use, in other words, setting up a procedure so that I can get right to work with our committee raising money.
Absolutely. I don't want to derail too much. I'll just say two very brief things. Number one, I believe Todd and or others have suggested a very brief training in Q1 for the entire board and especially committee heads who are not on the board, who just to understand how all this works. So we're all super aligned, and more importantly, can set expectations with donors who are donating to these things, because that's really, really important. You know how your money is going to get spent if you're donating to a specific project or fund. And then second, something else, Todd and I are looking forward to doing is sharing the detailed plans of all these various things are earmarked, because a budget is just a high level roadmap. I'm sure everyone's really interested in exactly what we want to spend money on. So that's coming your way whenever we get a chance to be able to have the information to do that. Cool.
Thank you, Ms. Houston. Okay. Ms. Harless, do you have your hand up?
I do.
Okay, go right ahead.
One thing, this is for just additional purchase items. That's what the $2,500 is for. We don't get to buy them if we don't raise the money. In the past, the storage unit has never been booked to the historical committee. That storage unit existed prior to this committee. And unless the LNC is proposing to throw out all of its records, this is an operating expense. It is not an expense to run the historical committee. The amount and the wiki site is $350 a year. It's like for a fully managed wiki, it's insanely cheap. So the budget we're raising is the actual discretionary budget of the historical committee. And if this was going to come out of the political, I forgot the terminology, that just got, earmarked a little bit, the wrong term, but put aside for affiliate support, this is another $2,500 that can go to offset that, because I'm trying to put my committee on the hook to raise the money. And I just want that reflected in the budget for transparency and accountability, and for us as a committee to be able to do our own motions and spend our own money. We shouldn't have to get permission from anyone. We're an empowered committee. It fundamentally changes the character of the committee if we can't do that.
Thank you, Ms. Harless. Okay, if there's no other comments, I think we are going to go to a vote. So, Ms. Harless, whenever you are ready, we will do
that. Mr. Benner?
Yes.
Mr. Duque,
Abstain.
Mr. Eklund,
Yes.
Ms. Eiler,
Yes.
Mr. Elliott,
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Mr. Pankey,
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian.
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Nana,
Yes.
Mr. Nikela,
Yes.
Mr. Rufo,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
Madam Chair, it's 15-0-0.
Okay, there you go. Motion
Madam
passes.
Chair, I move to extend time for 15 minutes to allow your two noticed motions to be heard.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this requires 2/3, right?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. If there's no objections, we're going to go to a roll call vote when our secretary is ready.
Yeah, I can finish typing that out later. Everyone knows where we're at. Just give me 1 second and I'm going to do a clean sheet. And by the way, this is for just the chair's motions, the LP News motion, I'll bring up at the February meeting. There's no hurry on that. Mr. Benner.
This is for an extension of 15 minutes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I vote yes.
Mr. Blankenship.
Yes.
Mr. Bowen.
Yes.
Mr. Duque.
Yes.
Mr. Eklund.
Yes.
Ms. Eiler.
Yes.
Mr. Elliott.
Yes.
Mr. Ford.
Yes.
Mr. Pankey.
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian.
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Nana.
Yes.
Mr. Nikela.
Yes.
Mr. Rufo.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
Madam Chair, 16-0-0.
Okay, thank you very much. The motion passes. So now let's jump to our next agenda item, which is to list us as participants of the Independent National Council. Okay, so I have dropped several documents about this event all over the list. Let me speak to it really briefly. Linnea, who is not on the call, and Andrew Watkins have both attended a couple of meetings, as well as TJ Kosen. So the organizers, one of the main organizers is a man named Christopher Life, and another guy named Blair Fitzgibbon, who has worked with past LP candidates in a lot of PR capacities. Yeah, so they haven't worked with us recently, but they've worked with us before. So what they're basically doing is they're looking to use the unification of what they call the independent sector to be able to establish a new sort of center of gravity for politics that helps to accelerate what they view as the end of the duopoly rule in our government. And they think that it's imminent and they want us to be a part of it. So when they say independent sector, they're talking about a few things. They're talking about politically independent people as well as minor parties, basically everyone who is outside of the two-party paradigm. They're having a big event in Austin, Texas, April 3rd through 5th. They are paying for everything, and they want to list us as officially involved, endorsing it, so on and so forth. Right now, my motion is to list us officially as involved, not as co-sponsors. I would like to make a different motion for that next month, after I've got a little bit more of you who have attended things and have bought in, because I think it's very careful I want to be very careful what we attach our names to. But I'm very comfortable with it at this point. And the general argument that Christopher Life, the organizers, has made is that through unification, we're able to put issues of governance on our national agenda. Things like social issues, economics, and environmental issues are not things that we all agree on, but we do agree that governance right now in this country is really messed up and it needs to change. And his examples are ballot access, revolving door alphabet agencies like the FDA, how people come into those positions of power, voting systems, voter fraud, transparency, and things like Pentagon black budgets, transparency with government spending and policy crafting, things like passing 10,000-page bills when the people who are doing that have no time to read them, voting 16 times for the Speaker of the House, kickbacks for corrupt politicians like Senator Pan in California, how legislation is drafted and passed, and accountability. Those are the things that this project is really focused on talking about changing, and that's what they want people to come rally behind and come together on. Those are things that they think we all agree on pretty much. They draw us closer together, and they foster a spirit of cooperation and understanding when we work together on them, even when we don't agree on things like economic policy. And one of the main goals of this project, which I think is very interesting, is to kind of break the two-dimensional paradigm of right and left, that he does not like that people view politics as just Republican and Democrat, and he calls it the political rise. And he says that the political rise is really the third domain or third dimensional element to the political spectrum, and that it's basically voices that are suppressed by the duopoly, like false binary, that are trying to rise up past the duopoly. And that sort of is like the real like 3D view of the political sphere, the political world in the United States. So he says that together we all rise and we create a new political domain. So that's what he wants us to be a part of. I've been invited to be a speaker at the event in Austin, Texas. They are going to give us free tickets and discounted tickets to attend, because it does cost quite a bit to attend the event. It's like Freedom Fest. And they would like our help with promoting it. But for now, my motion is just that we become involved in it officially, so that I can list us as involved instead of just myself. So that's where I'm at. That's my motion. Anybody? I need a second.
Second.
Great. Okay. Any questions or further discussion? Okay, going once, going twice. If not, let's go to a vote.
Mr. Benner?
Yes.
Mr. Blankenship?
Yes.
Mr. Bowen?
Abstain.
Mr. Duque?
Yes.
Mr. Eklund?
Yes.
Ms. Eiler?
Yes.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Mr. Pankey?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Nana?
Yes.
Mr. Nikala?
Yes.
Mr. Rufo?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Madam Chair, it's 15-0-1.
Okay, great. Motion passes. Let's go on to our next motion. Okay, let's look at the agenda. This is official endorsement of the Rage Against War rally and donate $1,500 towards the event. Okay, so that is my motion. So I'm pretty sure everyone here knows that Andrew Watkins and Otto and a couple other people have been helping me plan, in connection with the People's Party, a huge anti-war rally in DC on February 19th. I was reached out to by Nick Brana several months ago to do a live stream talking about our similarities and things that we agree on. And we developed a pretty good working relationship. We agree a lot on ending wars abroad and foreign policy. I think we're almost 100% aligned. Tiny little bit of disagreement on how far we'd go on nuclear disarmament. Pretty damn good. We agree on ending the drug war as well, and a handful of other things. Really good working relationship there. So he wanted to put together this big anti-war protest. It was like, what happened to the anti-war movement? They've been going really hard on opposing NATO and U.S. involvement in the war in Ukraine, which is great. So we have been working together. We were having weekly meetings to plan logistics. We got the website up. It's rageagainstwar.com. We are going to have some really big speakers, and we're working on getting more libertarian speakers to the event. Right now, we're getting a little bit outpaced by lefties. So we're going to reach out to Lisa Kennedy and Ben Swan this week. I will tell you that there are no Republican and no Democrat speakers. One of the conditions that we've set is that third-party people and independents are welcome to speak, but we are not holding space for Republicans or Democrats, even if they're really strong anti-war advocates. Their parties have supported war, and so we're just not, we would love for them to attend the event, but we're not going to be having a platform for them. So we're still planning, we're still raising money, we've got sponsorship levels. That's about it. Does anybody have any questions? Or actually, I guess I'll need a second, and then I'll
second.
Okay, great. Anything else?
Madam Chair, just a clarifying question, since I know that it's come up in the social media, so just wanted to make sure it's made here.
We'll go in order, though. There's a couple of hands up.
I'm sorry. I thought you had said there wasn't anybody. So
no worries. Okay, Ms. Harlos.
Okay, a couple comments. Absolutely in support. I'm glad we're doing these single issue things. It's something we should have been doing all along. And I just have to say, this might not be the most appropriate comment, but I am just perversely pleased that it's the left, considering just some things that people have said, that our first really big coalition is with some hardcore lefties on issues that we agree on. I've been following the People's Party for a long time, disagree with them heavily on a lot of things, but two things they are super strong on is free speech and anti-war.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Harlos. Mr. Bowen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I echo Ms. Harlow's comments. The anti-war movement is almost disappeared in this country, except for a couple of minor parties, and it's very, very important. I do have a question, just curious. I will be in support of this regardless, but is this a pre-budgeted item, or are we taking this from a general account?
This would come out of political impact.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Ford?
Yeah, this is outstanding. Coalitions are the way to go. We'll have the opportunity to promote libertarian values in front of a lot more lefties than they'll get in front of us, if you will, because this, I believe, will have a nationwide footprint. A question, when can we start seeing marketing material so that we can start disseminating it and on some of the logistical end?
Marketing material exists, and it'll be going out pending this vote.
Thank you.
You got it. Mr. Pankey?
Yeah, sorry. So the question I made is that there was a lot of talk about the $1,500, and I just wanted to make sure to clarify the $1,500 is because we are being listed. That would list us as a top level sponsor of the event, and that it's kind of silly for us not to be listed as a top sponsor of an event that we're co-organizing. Is that correct?
I mean, that's part of it. The People's Party is kicking in money, and I've done a lot of the work behind the scenes with Nick Brana, but they have done more than half of the work, and they're going to be kicking in more money, and they've already paid the fees. Like for example, I had to open the 501c4 account rapidly to get the money going for this thing so that we could put it somewhere, because neither of us were able to take votes and have the money coming from our respective political parties to pay for it. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't just take the vote. And so they dumped money into it. And now I'm like, can we be the other, can we do the second half of the heavy lifting? And we're probably still not we're not going to pay for the whole thing. We're trying to raise $45,000, but we should at least kick something in and not get outdone by the People's Party.
And to that, any proceeds that go into this event above and beyond that, which are the costs, are to be split amongst us, right? So if the event makes $3,000 net, then this would all offset anyway. Is that correct?
I don't think so. I mean, right now we haven't made our goal. Mm-hmm. We've raised $10,000. So we could certainly give money back if we made money. But right now, I'm not worried about us making money and having leftover. Like, we're just desperately trying to reach our goals so that we can purchase a riser, a decent sound system. I have to rent porta potties for at least 2,000 people and crowd control because this is happening at the Lincoln Building.
Right. So we're not expected we're trying to avoid any, we're trying to avoid us having to pitch in more and fundraise for the expenses, but we're not directly anticipating that this will be a net revenue raiser for us. Is that correct?
No, this is political impact. It's not a fundraiser.
Okay. Yep. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? If there's none, let's go to a vote.
Mr. Benner?
Hell yes.
Mr. Blankenship?
Slightly less enthusiastically, yes.
Mr. Bowen?
Definite yes.
Mr. Duque?
Yes.
Mr. Eklund?
Yes.
Ms. Eiler?
Yes.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Mr. Pankey?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Nana?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Rufo?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yeah.
16-0-0, Madam Chair.
Okay, I will vote yes to make it unanimous. All right.
17-0-0.
There we go. The motion passes. I believe we have one thing left on our agenda. Who wants to make it?
Yes. I would move to adjourn and go to the executive committee meeting.
Okay, great. Let's
Second.
There we go. Got a second. Okay, any objections to adjournment? Okay, going once, going twice. We are adjourned at 11:23 p.m. We're going to jump into executive session now. So I think that everyone who is on the LNC, you can stay on. Our executive director can stay on. We're going to take like 2 minutes for a bathroom break. And then the secretary and I are going to very gently, very kindly remove other people if they're still lingering. Sound good?
Madam Chair, just for benefit of the onlookers, we don't anticipate any motions further for the night. The rest is just correct. Discussion. Thank you.
Discussion only, no motions have been noticed.
And we're going into executive committee. Once the executive committee comes to order, you're anticipating that?
Yes, we'll go right into executive session.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, if everyone else is here, I'm going to call this executive committee meeting to order at 11:28 p.m.
Madam Chair, I would move to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing New Mexico and Massachusetts legal updates.
Should I do roll call first?
Oh, yeah, excuse me.
Okay.
Let me copy this because I like to note what LNC members are here too. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to do the entire one so I know who's here. The chair is here. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Hagopian.
Here.
I'm here. Mr. Blankenship.
I'm still here.
Mr. Bowen.
Here.
Mr. Elliott.
Still here.
Mr. Ford.
Here.
Mr. Nana. Did we lose Mr. Nana? Looks that way.
Yeah, I don't see
and we never did gain Ms. Gabbard, Mr. Watkins,
Here.
Mr. Clark,
Here.
Mr. Cowan,
Here.
Mr. Dassing,
Here.
Mr. Hall. Did we lose Robley? Yes, it looks that way. Oh, no, I see him. I'm going to count him, maybe. Mr. Hall? Well, he's on the phone, so I don't know. Well, okay, he didn't answer. We'll mark him if he shows up. Mr. Nepomuceno?
Present.
Mr. Pankey?
Here.
Mr. Chinyevich?
Here.
Ms. Yanuskavich?
Here.
And Laney is here, but Chase Crum no longer is. Okay. Madam Chair, we are just missing Mr. Hall, Ms. Gabbard, and Mr. Nana.
Okay.
I am here.
Who's is that Robley?
That's Robley.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're no longer missing Mr. Hall.
All right. Okay, so we have one agenda item, which is, well, I guess two. Legal updates on New Mexico and legal updates on Massachusetts.
Okay, so should I make that motion now about executive session, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Okay, I would then move to go into executive session to discuss the New Mexico and Massachusetts legal updates.
Second.
All right, thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session to discuss those legal updates. Do we have any objections? Going once, going twice. Okay, hearing no objections, we're going to go into executive session. Here we go. We are going to rise out of executive session.
Yeah, I just want this for the record, you know,
Yep.
even though it's boring.
Okay. So before we do the last thing, if everybody would be okay with it, Mr. Nepo has an announcement he would like to share.
Yes, it really pains me to say this, is I am going to be resigning from my position on this board, as well as my responsibilities on the communications team. And I'm just going to say it's nothing to do with anything we have done on the LNC. Nothing to do with the communications team. It's been a pleasure working with everybody. And I'm very sad about it because for the first time in the Libertarian Party, in my experience in the Libertarian Party, it seems like everybody is united and working on truly as a team and a unit together instead of stabbing each other in the back. And it's so I continue to believe in the cause. I continue to believe that, you know, this board is going to bring the party to greater heights. But it's things in my personal life, things in the Libertarian Party of Michigan. I can't continue to do both these things. So unfortunately, I have to resign. But it's,
well, we're going to miss you very much. I'm not going to harass you about it, but I will say that in the future, I hope you take time for yourself now and do whatever it is you need to do, take time away, whatever. And in the future, we'll try to win you back after however much time you need.
Of course, thank you. And I'm not writing anything, any possibilities off, but I gotta take some time off.
Take care of yourself.
Yes, I appreciate that.
All right. Well, now we got to end the meeting.
Well, Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Harlos.
You know, Connor, I would harass you. I think you're fantastic. And you did such a good job in Michigan in writing a very cogent opinion. I think if you choose to be, your future in this party is boundless. I just adore you, and it's been an absolute pleasure working with you, and I'm deeply saddened.
Yes, and I mean, it really, a lot of the catalyst has been this stuff going on in the Libertarian Party in Michigan. It's seeing people who welcomed me into the organization, who mentored me and who I respected very much, just say nasty or not even nasty things, but just to have a complete change of attitude just over some outcomes they didn't like. And it's really painful. It really is. And unfortunately, for me personally, a lot of this, the party stuff is becoming painful because of things like that. And I don't want to do it anymore. I want to do things in my personal life as well. But yes, it's unfortunate. But I'm not writing anyone off or anything off. So we'll have to see what the future unfolds.
Well, I'm certainly going to miss you on the LNC. I think, again, I can't say it enough. I think you're wonderful.
Yep. We will miss you a whole lot.
Codpieced.
Yep. Codpieced.
Well, thank you, everybody.
All right. Well, we've got one motion left, and
Madam
Connor.
Chair,
Yep.
I move to adjourn this meeting.
All right. Thank you. Any objections? Going once, going twice. I move to keep Connor. Yes. Hold him hostage. Hearing none, we are adjourned at 11:52 p.m. Eastern Time.